Ever say goodbye to one of your pets, a cat or a dog, and then wonder, I wonder if my other cat is feeling this too.
Yeah.
Like, are they noticing this? Is this something that's on their mind? Something we hear from pet owners all the time.
Yeah.
And there's actually some really interesting research emerging on whether cats experience grief. So
It's a good question, yeah.
Yeah.
It really challenges, I think, that classic image we have of cats as these, like,
right,
independent,
give a little.
even aloof creatures, yeah.
Yeah, we always have that aloof cat stereotype in the back of our minds.
Right, exactly.
So how does the research suggest otherwise?
Well, I mean, one thing is that, we've known for a while now that there is pretty strong evidence of what looks like grief in other species.
Okay.
Dolphins, elephants, chimpanzees, you name it.
Really?
Even dogs, which we think of as being much more emotionally open and available,
Yeah.
clearly react to the loss of companions.
It's heartbreaking, but it also makes you wonder, right?
Yeah.
Like, if it's happening across so many different species, could our feline friends be experiencing it too?
That's right. And that's what researchers at Oakland University
Okay.
wanted to find out. They did this big study, surveyed over 400 cat owners about how their surviving cat acted after the death of another animal in the house,
Okay.
which could be another cat or even a dog.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So they're looking for changes in behavior, basically,
Exactly.
as a sign that something else is going on.
Yeah. How are they coping?
Yeah.
What are the signs? Yeah.
What exactly did they see?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Cats who were closely bonded to the animal who died actually showed some significant changes. Like, they were sleeping less, they were eating less,
Oh, wow.
they were even playing less.
Wow.
And get this, some cats even seem to be, like, searching for their missing companion.
Oh, wow. That's so sad.
Isn't that interesting?
It does sound a lot like, what people go through, that feeling of just being completely unlike their usual selves.
Right.
But I'm guessing it wasn't like the same for every single cat, right?
You're right. Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't a one-size-fits-all situation.
Okay.
The study actually found that the intensity of these changes,
Right.
what looked like these sort of grief-like behaviors, really depended on the type of relationship the cats had.
Okay, so like how close they were
Exactly.
to the cat Bog who'd passed away.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
you and your roommate might get along fine,
Right.
but you're not going to grieve them the same way that you would.
Right.
Your best friend you've known for 20 years.
Totally.
So
Makes sense.
what they saw with these cats is the longer the cats had lived together
Okay.
and the more they interacted on a daily basis,
Right.
the bigger the change in the surviving cat's behavior.
Wow.
More likely to show those signs of, like, grief,
Yeah.
fearfulness, things like that.
Wow, that's heavy.
Yeah.
It really highlights just how deep those bonds can go.
Yeah.
But this isn't the first time that researchers have looked into this, right?
Right.
Wasn't there another study a few years back
Yes.
that had some similar findings about this?
You have a good memory. You're exactly right.
Okay.
There was a study back in 2016
Okay.
out of New Zealand and Australia,
Okay.
and they had some remarkably similar results.
Okay.
They found that a whopping 78%, that's nearly 8 out of 10 cats, showed some changes in their affection levels.
Wow. 8 out of 10. That's huge.
I know, it's a lot, right?
Yeah. How did those changes show up? Like what were they seeing?
So a lot of them became, like, super clingy with their owners,
Okay.
way more vocal, just
Mhm.
really needing that extra attention.
Yep.
Some of them even had noticeable changes in how much they were vocalizing,
Interesting.
like a 43% increase in frequency,
Wow.
and almost a third of them got louder, too.
So it sounds like they were really trying to communicate something
Right, yeah.
with two separate studies,
Yeah.
years apart,
Right.
showing some similar patterns. It's hard to just brush this off.
It really is.
It makes you think, like, why? Why are these changes happening? Why might cats be going through this?
Right. Well, it raises some really fascinating questions, I think, about the impact of domestication.
Okay.
We know that way back, ancestral cats
Right.
were solitary hunters,
Yeah.
but after thousands of years of,
Right.
living alongside us.
Right. Being our buddies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Have their social behaviors changed?
Right.
Could it be that domestic cats have developed a stronger ability to form these, deep bonds, and not just with us,
Right.
but with, other animals in their lives too?
That's a fascinating thought.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing not everyone in the scientific community is
Yeah.
ready to say definitively
Right.
that cats grieve.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are some of the counter arguments out there?
Sure. So, I mean, it's definitely still a topic of debate.
All right.
It's not like a settled issue.
Right.
Some researchers are urging a bit of caution,
Okay.
and they've proposed some alternate explanations
Right.
for why we might be seeing these behavioral changes.
Okay.
One theory is that it's less about grief
Okay.
and more of a survival response.
Okay. Interesting.
So basically, when another animal in the household dies,
Right.
even if they were friends, it can register as a threat to the surviving cat.
Mm.
Like, okay, well, this is one less
Right.
creature out there, and I need to be
Be more on guard.
more on guard. Yeah.
So instead of grieving, the surviving cat is actually just being more careful, more alert
Potentially, yeah,
to their surroundings.
it's possible.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Kind of a bummer to think about.
it is a little bit of a bummer.
But it makes sense.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, come on. Right. Like,
Right.
we want it to be this other thing, and it might just be,
Right.
survival.
Yeah.
The other big counter argument is this idea of owner projection.
Okay.
So,
Gotcha.
we humans are complex creatures. We're definitely prone to,
Yeah.
projecting our own feelings and our own experiences onto our pets.
Right.
So could it be that grieving owners are just interpreting any little change in their cat's behavior as grief,
Right.
when it's really something else entirely?
Right. We're projecting our own sadness onto them,
Exactly.
wanting them to feel that same connection.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's a really important point, and there's actually some evidence to support that.
Okay.
Remember that Oakland University study we talked about?
Yeah.
They found that owners who weren't particularly close to the cat that died
Right.
were actually less likely to perceive their surviving cat as grieving.
Interesting. So it sounds like we were left with a really complex question here.
Yeah.
On the one hand, we've got these studies showing these changes in cats' behavior after a companion passes away. And then on the other hand, we've got these alternative explanations that we can't just ignore.
Right. And I think,
So where does that leave us?
well, I think it just speaks to how much we're still learning about,
Right.
the inner lives of animals. I
Right.
mean, we don't have the luxury of being able to just ask them,
Right.
"Hey, are you grieving?
Right.
Are
Exactly.
you feeling sad right now?"
Right.
Like, we're left to interpret these outward signs, these
Right.
behavioral changes, as best as we can.
Which I imagine can be really tricky because, even with other humans, grief can look so different
Totally.
from one person to the next.
Of course.
What one person experiences
Yeah.
could be totally different from another.
Right. There's no one size fits all answer. There's no checklist of behaviors that you can look at and say, well, this animal is definitely grieving.
Right.
But I think even without that clear-cut answer,
Right.
this research is still so important
Yeah.
because it challenges us to really open our minds to the possibility that cats might be experiencing
Wow.
a wider range of emotions than we've traditionally given them credit for.
It really makes you wonder, like, if they are grieving, what can we even do to support them
Yeah.
during that time? Because you can't exactly offer a cat a cup of tea and a shoulder to cry on.
Right. You can't. No, you can't. And it's not about
Yeah.
trying to project our human experiences onto them.
Right.
But I think just like with people, a little extra love and understanding can go a long way.
Yeah.
Paying attention to those behavioral cues,
Right.
offering extra cuddles if they seem to want them,
Right.
maybe even just being a little bit more patient with any little quirks or behavioral changes that might be coming up.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that even though we think of cats as being so independent, they still need us.
They do.
Maybe even more so when they're going through a tough time.
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe as we,
Yeah.
continue to study this, as
Yeah.
we develop new ways of understanding animal behavior,
Yeah.
maybe we will gain even deeper insights into the
Yeah.
emotional lives of our feline companions.
It's definitely a fascinating field.
It is.
And one worth paying attention to for sure. So
Yeah.
for all you cat lovers out there,
Right.
maybe the next time your furry friend seems a little out of sorts,
Yeah.
consider that there might be more going on beneath the surface than we realize.
Yeah.
Give them an extra cuddle, and let's keep learning together.